Welcome to the Latin Wealth Podcast, a podcast dedicated to educating the Latino community about entrepreneurship, investing, and business.
Yo, what's going on, Latin Wealth family? Welcome to another episode to the Latin Wealth Podcast. As you can see, I'm in the studio today. Very excited because we got another guest on the podcast. And before we get into this dope conversation, if you guys can do us a huge favor by sharing this episode with one other person that needs to hear the Latin Wealth Podcast, it would truly mean the world to us. And man, I'm excited to jump into this conversation because this is a first that we have on the podcast. Usually we have, people in real estate and finance and different stuff like that, but we've never had an artist on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit about our guest today. Our guest is a talented artist originally from the Bronx, New York. He's been featured in some big publications such as the Source magazine, Lyrical Lemonade, just to name a few. And his work and his dedication to his craft has really earned him a reputation as an up-and-coming artist and entrepreneur in the hip-hop scene. And man, he's creating some dope content on social media. He's been going viral here and there. And just a lot of high-quality stuff is what I see from this individual. Welcome to Latin Wealth Podcast, Words Life. How you living, bro?
What up, man? I appreciate you guys having me. I'm living good. I'm living blessed,
Yeah, you blessed, for sure. Man, I want to get into it right off the top before we get into your story and whatnot. Where does the name come from, Words Life?
Word Life is just something, it's been around in hip-hop for a long time. I think the first time I heard it was the OC. He dropped an album called Word Life. But it's in New York, it was just a thing that, people say, like in the South, in Texas, they say like real talk and stuff like that. But, in New York, it's like word up, word life, you know what I mean? And I know you hear it in a lot of songs from Jay-Z to Raekwon to OC, you know what I mean? So it was just a thing I used to say all the time. And my brother was like, yo, you little word life, you know what I mean? Word life, little, you know what I mean? So I just, when I started really just rapping, I was like, oh, don't call me word life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it also means, you live by your word, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you everything you portraying is, is word up, like that's real.
I think that's so important, especially as an artist, entrepreneur. Like your word is everything.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I operate. Like if you tell me you're gonna do something, I'm gonna go with it. You know what I'm
Especially
saying?
in the independent world, you know what I mean? Like you gotta everything, your conversations and all that, you gotta hold it valuable, you know what I mean? You can't just be out there spreading some whatever's, but it's
I heard
real.
that. I heard that. So man, talk to us. I mentioned you're from the Bronx.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Talk to us
down.
about your upbringing, your childhood, and how you even got into this space.
I mean, I'm originally from the Bronx, and all my family's out there. Just growing up as a Puerto Rican kid in the Bronx, you're kind of like, you're adapted to the culture of hip hop just because the birthplace of hip hop is in the Bronx. So just growing up, the community, the environment was just, it was inspiring for me. I used to see everyone out there just, trying to do their part of be a part of the culture, and it just kind of inspired me along the way just to, want to rap and just represent from where I'm from. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. Man, talk to us about some of your influences. You mentioned Jay-Z, some of your influences growing up that kind of helped you cultivate the artist that you are today.
Like I said, like as a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, like you're inspired by a lot of different things, a lot of different artists from salsa music to reggaeton to hip hop. Some of my influences was obviously Big Pun. Like he's one of my, everyone that know, they know I'm Big Pun's like in my top 5 forever, you know what I mean? Just because he's from where I'm from and he actually did it. He made it to a level that, we all wanted to be at, and it was just inspiring for me. But, growing up, I had the influences from my family, my parents too. My mom's cleaning the house, listening to La India and Mark Anthony and stuff like that. My dad having house parties. He playing the congas with, listening to Frankie Ruiz and Willie Colon and, stuff like that. So it's a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? For me, it was just, and not only that, the environment I was in, just walking outside, you just, like I said, you feel the influence, because it's the Bronx.
Yeah. So music was all around you, was heavily influenced in your life. when did you really feel like, yo, this is what I want to do? Like, this is it right here. Was it
Honestly, like in the beginning, like I really didn't even care about rapping like that. Like I was more into hip hop because of the fashion. Like I was always into the sneakers and
right?
just the fashion side of everything. And then one day it was just like my older brothers were the ones that wanted to be rappers, and just one day they was like, I think we was actually in Connecticut, at my brother's house, and him and his friends and my other brother, they was all rapping, and they just kind of put me on the spot, and it just came so natural that they were like, yo,
Yeah.
you might need to, you know what I'm saying? You might need to pay attention to do something with this.
Right.
And just one thing led to another, you know what I mean?
And how old were you?
I think I was probably like 14 or 15 at the time, and my brother just kind of put me on the spot. It was like, yo, kick a rhyme, you know what I'm saying? I was like, what? Just playing around, like, you know what I mean? And just kicked the rhyme, and it's so natural that they were like, yo, you pretty good, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, I guess, you know what I mean?
That's crazy. So, man, I can attest to the influence that, New York culture has on the world, because I was telling you before we hit record, I'm from Cali. So I remember growing up, like, Nas, Jay-Z, to even the fashion, like Tim's. I know it'd be hot out there, but we want a pair of Tim's in the wintertime, you know what I'm saying? Yankee Fitty, I mentioned my grandpa from New York, so like that culture is definitely like widespread throughout the world, honestly.
The world, yeah, for a long time too. And not to say that's the only culture that inspired everything, but it's one of the, the leading runners of from, like you said, from fashion. It's the fashion district of the world. Music, music, hip hop itself, it started in New York and all that. So it's definitely it should be an inspiration for everybody, but I get everybody got their different cultures, because Cali did its own thing too, and Cali got its own wave that's inspiring to a lot of people. You see people in Japan who riding around in low riders, dressing like some, what they call them, cholos or whatever in Cali, and that's dope. So I think it's a little bit of everything, but yeah, New York is definitely a forerunner of all that.
Yeah, for sure. So you're 14, 15, you spit your first rhyme. You're like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. It's smooth. What's like the next step? You just keep creating? Are you writing now? Or are you just
I was just, you can find videos of me at 16, 17, in the Bronx, rapping on the corners. I started just rapping, battle rapping really. And it wasn't until I started coming to Dallas a lot more and being in Dallas, because my mom was out here. So just being in Dallas, like, I got into a little bit of trouble at the time that I had to kind of just stay here for a little longer than, I was always back and forth from Dallas, but at the time, like, I got in a little trouble. I had to sit down for a second, and I started meeting different people that had studios, promoters, and engineers and producers out here in Dallas. And that's when I really started like going into like the music side of it. Because before I used to just rap and just freestyle and be on the corner, whatever. But it wasn't until I met the guys in Dallas that I was working with that I created my first studio recording and shot my first video, did my first show and all that. And so it wasn't until I, that side of everything really put me in the game, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, in business as an entrepreneur, networking is like everything, right? That's how it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? As an artist, right? Not even just as a rap artist, as an artist in general, how important is it to network, right?
Oh, it's important. Like, you gotta, especially as an independent artist, you gotta, nobody owe you nothing in this world. So, just because you nice on the mic doesn't mean everybody's gotta put you on. Like, you know what I mean? So you really gotta be out there and just shake hands and do all that and meet people and network with different people, because that's the only way you're gonna meet, certain people that's in certain places you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays it's a little different, I think, because the internet took over. Internet's been around a long time, but like just social media just created a whole new wave of people connecting and networking and like that's how we met.
That's
you know
how
what I
we
mean?
met,
Like, so it's just a way of, it's smarter, not harder, I think now. Just you don't have to be out there at every event and doing all that anymore. You could just slide into certain people's DMs and hopefully, and just interact and network. And it's very important because, you can only go so far yourself. You can only think of so much yourself. You know what I mean?
100%. So you're networking, you're shaking hands out here, you record your first video, your first show. Man, like, it seems like maybe things are picking up for you. Talk to us about like the next step in that phase, right? So what was next for you?
It was I was just putting out song. I had put out a song that did really good in Dallas. A lot of DJs started picking it up and started playing it in the clubs and playing it on the radio stations and inviting me to the radios. And so right then and there is when I was like, okay, I need to turn this into like, because music is music, but it's also the music business. So I was like, I got to turn this into the business side of everything and get right. You know what I mean? So I had a song that started blowing up, and then I started just touring and doing a bunch of different things that just on an independent level and just getting everything right as far as the business, getting all my paperwork, my back end stuff right. Yeah. So that way when people research my name or streaming my music, I'm getting paid for it now. You know what I mean? So that's just where, that's how it led, to where it's at now.
No, I love that. And I love to hit on some of the business side of it, because for most of the listeners, we don't know about, how that all works. But people probably just think you put up a song and it goes on Spotify, it just goes everywhere, you just somehow get paid.
Nah.
You may not need to like go into like super detail, but when you say getting your paperwork right as an artist,
you got
what does that look like?
You gotta, you gotta have your ASCAP or your BMIs. You gotta have all that locked in, because you can't get paid without none of that, without actually putting your music and publishing your music. And not only that, but you don't necessarily need a distro label. I got a distribution label, but the distribution side of it, like the distro kids and all that, is important, because now it's all in your hands. You know what I mean? Like before, you used to have to. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of liked it before. Like when we used to have to print up CDs and go to corner to corner trying to sell our CD, because there was straight money in your hand, cash in your hand. Now it's going through. You getting cents on the dollar for streaming music, you know what I mean? And it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, we used to get $20 a CD. You sell 20, 30 of those in a day, it's a good day, but now you got to stream double the amount. They made it a little harder, but, it's still a part of the game. It's still part of the business, so you got to adapt to it, and that's just one part of it. The music business is the music business. I'm known for my merch. I'm known for doing features with a lot of artists, doing guest appearances, hosting clubs, and that's all that's all part of the bag. The show money and the merch money is the best part of it. So once you start growing your name and start creating an actual fan base for yourself, an audience, then you'll start seeing different avenues of that side of the business.
Yeah, so it's super important to diversify your income, not just lean on the the streams.
People rap all day, and it's. I can't, there's a million song rappers out here, you know what I mean? Like, trying to do the same thing you're doing, but, until you create an audience and create an actual fan base and start putting out merch and start doing shows that's, not just the local, nothing wrong with the local, opening up local showcases and all that, but that could only take you so far, like until you start getting paid for these shows and ticket sales and all that type of stuff, then you're not really seeing the business side of it. You know what I mean? So I think it's important for any artist to do that. That's why I did it. I was doing that for a long time. Like, I've been selling merch for, my clothing line is King of All Fresh, and my merch, everybody know that. So it's like, it's just a big part of it. If I was relying strictly on music, then I'd probably have to work somewhere else, Like,
no, that's a word. I mean, the way you're thinking is like how a lot of people should think in general. Yeah. Whether you do have a job, like one is way too close to none.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Way like if close. That stream of income dies off, like that's it. But I love how the way you think, it's like, okay, how can we generate some more income? Merch.
Not only that, they just announced that the Spotify's and all the streaming platforms are about to like, you got to do a lot more now to even get paid. You got to like average a certain amount of streams now in order to get a certain dollar amount, So it's like they're making it a little harder for us to get paid. So that's why you got to really tie into the rest of it, because that's where, that's where the money really at for artists. You know what I mean?
So, no, that's crazy. So I'm thinking like there's specifically on Spotify, they're known for having these different playlists. I forgot the name of the big playlist on Spotify.
There's a lot of them,
Yeah, because I'm an Apple Music type guy.
Yeah.
But I could just imagine if you get on one of those playlists, how beneficial is that?
Oh, it's great. I mean, that's the goal for Spotify. Like, unless you're a multi-million-dollar type of artist that's just averaging millions and millions of streams, then
That's how you get on.
for the average independent artist, the best way to do it to get your streams up is to get on them playlists and all that. I mean, I got my song started catching on to like the Lyrical Lemonade playlist,
Yeah.
a bunch of the big playlists, and that's how my streams is, you know, it's where they at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's what it is, and
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that, like not to say that I don't have a fan base that's gonna support it, but that, you know, as an independent artist, you're trying to grow and expand your horizons. In order to do that, you know, these playlists got people from all around the world, you know, and that's how you grow your audience. So it's very important to get on them playlists, I think, you know.
Does it get political? Like, do people be paying to get on them playlists, or is it?
There's ways of doing it. You know, and I don't knock it. Like, if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. I don't count nobody's pockets, none of that. But you know, whatever you gotta do, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what's gonna help you get your streams, so that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it's part of the game, I guess. You know, it's pay to play. You know, it's before the streaming sites, people used to, you know, pay these promoters to perform at these shows, and they have to sell tickets and stuff like that. So it's another form of that, I guess. You know what I mean?
So you said you're independent, right?
Yeah.
But you have a distribution deal?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? What, you know what I'm saying?
They distribute the music where I don't have to, you know, I don't do it all myself, and they take just a small percent of it, and then they you know, distribute it to a whole lot of different platforms that you might not be able to reach yourself, you know, because a lot of those sites and all that, you need distro representation in order to you know, access certain things, and they're just another machine to help you do certain things, but you don't necessarily need them these days, but it's good to have, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, it's a blessing I have it, because the busier you get as an artist, there's only so much you can pay attention to, and you know, you miss certain things, you're missing out on money, and that's why they're there. They handle the back end to make sure you good. It takes a team for everybody. Like, there's no artist in the world that ever blew up just by themselves. Like, it takes a team, so that's just a part of your team. Like, you know.
Yeah. So how do you feel about artists signing deals and being independent? Right. You're independent, but like, there's probably definitely pros and cons to both. But does it depend on people's situations? Or?
I think it depends on the situation. You know, I know artists that came from the mud just like me, that they signed their deals and they're doing good, and some got shelved and kicked off the labels, and you know, but I think it's good because then you got a machine behind you. You don't need it. You know, you could do everything yourself these days, but it's good to have that machine that's gonna put in the money you might not have yourself into certain things, and not only that, they're gonna put a strong promotion behind you to get their money back. You know what I mean? So then that creates the audience for you. So whether you off the label later on down the line, at least you built an audience. So, you know, that's just a part of why it's kind of good. But, you know, there's also bad deals. I think it depends on the deal that you get. You know, there's a lot of 360 deals that's going on. Some do good, some do bad. So it just depends.
Yeah. And I feel like when you sign them deals, the expectation is just so much higher, because like you said, they're investing in you, so they want to see a return on that investment.
Oh yeah, and fast. You know, they don't want no 20-year artists making back the little 360 deal that they signed you for. Like, you know, that's when you get shelved, and that's when you get left behind, because they're like, okay, this is a bad investment. It's like any investment. You know, you buy into a house or anything, you put the money in, you do all the work into it, and it doesn't sell for what you wanted. Do you go less and try to compromise, or do you just hold off till you get your money back? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. They're going to hold off until they can make their money back, you know, and you still got to continue working because you got fans to please and all that. So it's on you after that.
That's crazy. So where's your mindset at? Like, are you more of the independent, you want to continue this route, or are your options open? Can you even speak about that?
My options is open. Yeah, you know, if I get a deal, I get a deal. You know, do I need a deal? Do I want a deal? Sure. But do I need it? Not necessarily, but, you know, it'd be good to have. You know, it's just going to fast forward everything. That's all it is, you know.
Yeah, and I think there's obviously pros and cons to both, but when you have a deal, it's good to put money behind an artist that's already doing it. That already has the merch, that already has experience, you know, touring and whatnot.
I'm the whole package.
The whole package. You have content already. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to somebody that doesn't have all that, they get the push and the work ethic is not there.
It's not there. They don't
that's
know.
what it is, right?
But honestly, you know, that's why they go for artists like that, I think, because I know my side of the business and I know certain things that they can't take advantage of, and I'm already so established on my own that they're like, yo, we can't take advantage, because the deals, a lot of deals, it's just like anything else. They're going to take the best part and give you the rest, and they might not be able to do that with someone that's knowledgeable of everything that's been through the game. So that's why a lot of these younger artists, they come and grab them and just throw them in the deal that they so excited they get a deal and they think it's the best thing in the world, but then you don't hear from them for the next 3 to 5 years, you're wondering what happened to them. Like, even a lot of artists here in Dallas that I know that got signed to deals, like once they got signed, like what happened to them? You don't know where they at no more. You got to go and see what they doing. They doing things on the low on their own, still making money, still making their things shake, but it's not what they thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Cold game, man.
It's a cold game. It's the hard entertainment business, the hardest business to get into, man. Like,
I can only imagine. So, with you having this knowledge, do you have somebody that's like giving you the game, a mentor or something like that? Like, where are you learning this from?
Honestly, man, I've never had like a good like a management team like that. Everything was just learning. Like I've been in, like you said, networking, being in all these events, being in the streets, being in all these places, just learning and growing and meeting people and understanding. I took a lot of L's, but those L's were never losses to me. Those were lessons. I learned a lot of lessons in the game that helped me get to my W's. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. But either way, it's a blessing. Like everything to me is a blessing. I'm thankful and grateful for any opportunity, whether I'm performing in front of 3 to 5 people or shows that I've done that's 3,000 to 5,000 people. You know what I mean? Like I'm just blessed for every opportunity, and I take every opportunity like it's a big thing. Like
for sure.
And that's what helps me grow. So I was a student to the game. That's how I look at it. And I learned I was always the youngest in the crew, so I learned from all the guys around me, but not to say that they was just people in the industry. They were just the guys around me, and I'm just learning through experience, I guess.
For sure. No, I love that. And you said something important in my opinion. You said it don't matter if 3, 5 people there. You're gonna give it your all.
Always.
Always give it your all, because when you get to 3,000 to 5,000 people,
you gotta know what you're doing.
You're gonna know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So
honestly, I performed at a lot of like showcases. There was nobody there. I've traveled, went to different bars, but then I've been on tour with legends like Nipsey Hussle, where I'm performing in front of thousands of people, and people knowing my songs, they know who I am, you know what I mean? So it's like,
talk to us about that experience.
Oh man, rest in peace to legend. The marathon continues, man. But yeah, I was out here. I know a guy in Dallas. He's a promoter. He puts together a lot of events out here in the DFW, and he had a connection with Nipsey, so he did a Nipsey run. We did a 3-city run. It was Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, and it was amazing, man. We were performing out of the House of Blues, and it was just a dope feeling, man. Just being next to a legend.
And what year was this?
Man, I gotta look. I think it was 2018.
Okay, this is maybe like Crenshaw or something like that mixtape.
This was right. Yeah, this was when he dropped the This was right when he dropped the
Proud to Pay.
The last what's the song?
Last Time I Checked.
Yeah, Last Time I Checked.
Okay.
What's what's the album called?
Victory Lap.
Victory Lap, right? Okay, that's when he just dropped that, and it was going crazy. And my guy Smooth Vega, he put together the whole 3-city run, and it was just I was the opening act. It was just dope. Like it was an amazing feeling, and being able to meet him and talk to him was just, it was dope. Even though it was just a quick interaction, it was just, later on, a few years later, he passing away, now I cherish that moment. Like, wow, like I got to do that. I was blessed to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And the way I was able to get on that show is because the connection and the networking I had with the promoter who, he booked me for shows when I was first doing my thing in Dallas, and he seen me and seen the growth, and he thought I fit right for the opening act slot, and that's how I got on.
Just being around him, whether it was a brief moment or just watching him from afar, what did you learn from him? What was like the biggest thing you learned from him?
Just how to stay humble and just appreciate the moment. That's one thing I really felt that he was doing. He was cool with everybody that was the staff, everybody that was there working, like, all the fans after the show. He made sure to get a picture with everybody. Just and he didn't seem tired. He didn't seem bothered. He didn't
Mhm.
seem in a rush. He didn't seem none of that. He was just appreciating the moment, and he cherished it. And you could just feel that energy. You know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
saying what up and hey, what up? You know what I mean? Oh, we in the next city? Yeah, yeah. You know, just seeing that. Just seeing him do his thing, just seeing him walk around, it was just inspirational. It was just like, damn, like that's how it's got to be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
No matter what, you got to stay humble, no matter how big you get, and be grateful. And that's one thing I felt from him.
Man, I love that because you said Pun is in your top 5. I think
Always.
Nip is always in my top 5.
Yeah,
No matter
word.
what, like
That's
Nip
fire.
always in my top 5.
That's
So
fire.
that's dope to hear. And I love that because that's, you learning from him or learning that is,
Yeah,
is just like it's a testament to his character.
facts.
Like I heard a quote one time that says, "You got to watch how people treat folks that they don't need."
Word.
Right? I'm sure that there's a lot of people in that stands that Nip did. He don't really need. He can't really benefit from them,
Yeah,
but he treats them with character. He
he
treats them right.
appreciates them
He
for
appreciates them. Yeah.
us as human beings. That's how we got to be with each other. We got to just appreciate us as just, we all walks of life and we all got different experiences that we can learn from and grow from. So I felt like, him especially, he knew that, and
Yeah.
he portrayed that. And I think he treated, like I said, he treated everybody, the staff, everybody that was there. He made sure to take pictures, make sure everybody was good. It was just,
Yeah.
it was that feeling.
That's crazy. So, besides what you learned from Nip, what is maybe one other thing that you learned from being in this rap game, being in the entertainment industry and in this space? What's one thing you learned?
It's one thing I learned
Like the
is
biggest thing you learned?
it's a cold world.
Cold world, huh?
It's a cold world, man. Nah, it's just I've just learned to be grateful and be humble and just really that's one thing that a lot of artists are not these days. They may or may not, I don't know, but I just learned that you got to be grateful because the time's gonna come and go, and the only thing you're gonna have left is those memories of doing them shows, traveling, touring, and all that. And I think that's just being grateful and being humble. You know what I mean? That's one thing I've learned through the years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Speaking about touring, what are some of your favorite cities that you've hit? That every time you
Man,
go, like it's gonna be
I've
lit.
been on tour with a lot of artists, man, from small to big. Like I said, Nipsey. I've been on tour with legends like Bone Thugs and Harmony. I've been on tour with a lot of people. Currency.
hmm
We did a 2-city run with DMX. Like, you know what I
Damn.
mean? Like it's
If you could pick 2 cities
oh man,
that
I
are going to
think.
be
But
lit,
honestly, I besides all the touring, I think my favorite shows are when I headlined Mexico. I went to
wow.
I got booked in Cancun a few years to headline some major festival out there. Then I got booked the year after that. My show there led me to another booking the year after that in Playa del Carmen. And then after that, I got booked in Guadalajara, and just
Mm.
seeing the fans that,
Going
as a
crazy.
Puerto Rican kid that from New York, just rapping his shit, like just seeing that, they're like, and they loving it.
Yeah,
They
loving
know
it.
as soon as I got into the airport, I sold out the merch before I even left the airport. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like a fire. Like it was a dope feeling. It was a genuine feeling that I feel like you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Man, that's crazy. So, speaking about fast forwarding a little bit, how do you feel about the current state of hip hop and where it's at right now?
I mean,
Overall, as far as like creatively, what you're hearing, what you're seeing
it's
out there,
it's at a down. It's at a down. It's down right now, but
okay.
it doesn't mean we going back up. I think right now it's just so saturated with
Mm.
what everybody's saying and doing. There's nothing new under the sun no more. So
Mhm.
now it's just hard to, not hard, but it's just finding ways of just doing something different, which is hard because before, when a lot of the legends were coming up, a lot of the stuff they was doing was new to the world.
Yeah.
Now all of this has been done and said. So I think it's at a standstill right now, and I think
Okay.
it's gonna some of the newer generations coming in and they changing the game, changing the look of it, and it's just gonna blow back up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But as of right now, I think there's some work to do.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. I'm like, man, a lot of the hip hop stuff I'm listening to is like old school stuff.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? It's
yeah.
going back to that. But on the flip side, when we're talking about like Latinos and reggaeton,
Yeah.
we up right now.
We up right now. I don't,
Yeah.
I let it be known. That's what the clip that went super viral is just representing from, you know, my heritage and my culture of where we come from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, talk about it.
And not only that, like you got the reggaeton and the salsa music and all that that's on the island, but I'm representing for the ones that's, you know, we in New York, we the mainland ones, you know, so it's different. And but it doesn't mean we can't represent for all of us,
For
you know,
sure.
like reggaeton artist is up right now, and you know, for one Puerto Rican artist to be in the top 3 or top 5 of the world of all artists, like it's just inspirational. It's inspiring to see, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that we created whatever, but we definitely had an impact in a lot of the music and a lot of the stuff that's happening today. You could walk into a random restaurant and just hear in the background, it'd probably be a Bad Bunny song or Karol G or whatever. Like, it'd just be some music you just vibe to. You're not gonna listen to, you know, rap in a random place like that. You know?
No, that's a fact. So you brought up Japan earlier.
Yeah.
And my wife and I actually went to Japan this year.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, and so we were walking around and we heard some Bad Bunny, and I'm like, that's how you know, like we up right now.
And what's crazy, they don't know the words.
They don't know the words.
Speak Spanish, you don't know the words. You're like, how the hell you know those words? Like, you got Puerto Ricans that don't even speak Spanish, don't even know the words.
Right.
You got Japanese people that know it word for word. It's amazing. Like, to me, it's amazing. It's like inspirational because it's like it's motivation for any younger artist that, you know, that's coming out the island just trying to do their thing. Like, you got the world in your hands now. It's not just the island. The islands are small. It's a small place. It's 100 by 35 miles, and it's a population of 3 million people, right? There's 800 billion people in the world. That's not even 1% of the world. You know what I mean? And the impact we have is just like it's amazing. It's like, you know, to be in the top 5 of all artists all around the world, and it's just motivation. You know what I mean?
And it's crazy because it seemed like when it comes to Spanish music, reggaeton, those genres, it seemed like if you hit in those genres, like you are global.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
When it comes to hip hop, you got to be like really, really big and well known to hit globally, like a Drake.
You got to be a Drake or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Or
because I don't know if they listening to YoungBoy. You know what I'm saying? All over the world.
You might have some kids that's, you know, listening to stuff here and there, but it's not on a global level that. You know, you got to be a Drake or a Taylor Swift, or now, proud to say, as a Puerto Rican, like now a Bad Bunny, you know what I mean? And a lot of Puerto Rican artists might not like some of the stuff he's saying or doing, but it's still representation of 100%. You know, the heritage. And it's like, yo, you putting us on we was already on the map. Now you're putting us on the globe, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Small
dope.
little island, it's crazy. A lot of talent coming out of there.
A lot of talent, and not only that, just not even the music, from everything, from sports to movies. You know, there's the EGOT Awards is the Emmys, the Grammys, the Oscars, and the Tonys. There's only 16 actors that actually have all those awards, and one of them's a Puerto Rican, Rita Moreno. So it's like, you know, it's the inspiration is in all industries. So it's like, you know, we there.
Does that inspire you to want to create reggaeton or Spanish music, or do you want to stick with the hip hop? Like, what is your thoughts about that?
Oh no, I definitely do. I love to work with. I got a lot of these clips that's been coming out that I've been dropping on some content. They've all been reaching out to me. A lot of artists, independent artists, that's trying to do their thing from Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic. Everywhere they're reaching out to me, they want to work, and I want to work. I just did I did a song with an artist in Italy, Sorrento, and he's releasing a song. I'm featured on it, and you know, I'm speaking my Spanglish shit on there. Like, it's dope. Like, I think working with artists that's outside of the hip hop umbrella, like it'll reach more, you know, it'll go further. And as a businessman on top of that, like, it's just smarter. Like, it's why you think Drake did a song with Bad Bunny and all that, you know, why they you know, because
he going to the UK and he doing,
you want to tap into the world. You can only do so much as a hip hop artist, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Man, so continuing to talk about, you know, the current state of hip hop, what are your thoughts on folks selling their masters or keeping their masters? Like, overall, when you get down that line, when you have a catalog of music and people selling it, what are your thoughts about that?
I think Future sold his for, I forgot how many, like 100 million. I forgot how many millions, a lot, but I think it's smart. Like, you know, you just securing the bag. Like, you know, you could you already ran up the bag releasing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Now you ran it up by selling it to, it's kind of like when you have property or a house
Right.
and a corporate or whoever wants to come and buy it off you and they buy it for more. You're like, oh shit, hell yeah, I'm gonna sell it. Why not?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go and put it into a lot of other new things.
So do you think, my question to you is, like, someone like a Future, do you think maybe he sold it prematurely, or maybe he recognized, like, maybe it hit my peak?
I think he recognized it. I
Yeah,
think, and Future's one of my favorite
for
artists. I'm not
sure.
gonna lie, like he's one of the, I'm a hip hop head, but Future, one of the game changers of the industry, and I think he knew what he was doing. He's
Go
at
out on top.
certain
Yeah.
artists, they hit their peak, even though they might not be at their. People might not think of them as like, oh, they at their peak. They about to go. He might have felt that, and he sold it. But that doesn't say he could drop another album and do the same exact thing, and then who knows down the line he could do it again and make, when things slow up for him. But not only that, it's a generational thing. I think he creating generational wealth for himself and artists like that. That's what the goal in life is: create that generational wealth, and I think that's what they're doing, because that 100 to 200 whatever $1 million could go into a lot of other things. Instead of waiting for it to
For sure.
stream and catch up to
true.
calculate the bag.
True, that's very true. So I want to go back to what you were doing, what you're doing now with creating the content that's been going viral and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like, if you watch some clips, I don't even think if people would know that you were artists,
Yeah,
right?
nah.
They just see it and vibe with it,
Yeah.
and then they go to your page and, oh, he can rap, he got music and whatnot. So that's how
Yeah.
people are finding out about you. What made you want to start creating those clips? And shout out to you guys, because it's like high production and stuff. It ain't no janky stuff.
I actually shoot all that in here in Dallas.
Okay.
XR214 Studios, not too far from here actually. Actually one of the guys that films, that records it and edits it and all that, his name is Mo, and he's one of the guys that I met when I was first out here learning, and one of the first he was the one who recorded my first studio album and my first studio record and all that. So we've been rocking for a long time, and it was really, I was shooting a music video for Trust Issues, and that's the one that's been kind of going crazy right now. But at the end of the video, everybody left. We were just trying to create some type of, he was like, yo, let's do some interview stuff. Let me ask you some questions and whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And he was like, what should we talk about? I was just like, I don't know. I was like, let's talk about, I think the Bad Bunny song was playing in the background. I was like, let's talk about how Bad Bunny took over the industry. Like, you know what I mean?
It's some organic.
It was so organic that it
that's
just
crazy.
And then honestly, by the time I released it, we had shot it, and probably 3 months later is when I got the clip. And I was like, I didn't think it was gonna do what it did, and I dropped it, and it just went crazy. You know what I mean? And I just like, all right, well, let's do another interview. And just one thing led to another, and it's just been going crazy since.
No, I love that, because you recognize, the moment. I mean, you try to take advantage of what was going on in that moment. You mentioned being present earlier.
Yeah.
And just taking a risk. We're trying something different. Let's
But
create some content.
it's one thing I say, I like, all right, I'm gonna say this, but it's like, it's got to be factual. It's like everything I say is gonna be facts. It's representing my heritage, that my Puerto Rican side of everything, because it's not even though we're big in the industry, you don't just have too many Puerto Ricans out there representing like that. They try to wash us out of a lot of industries. They try to make sure, like, for hip hop example, we know it's a Black creative business, industry, culture, but it's also, the Puerto Rican side of it. We've contributed to that.
For sure.
We've definitely contributed to hip hop and all that. So they try to wash us out of everything. So it's like, I'm just gonna talk my side of everything, and represent for us,
That's what's up, man. Love to see that. Man, we can start wrapping this thing up.
Word.
So what's next for you? Like, what are some things that you have on the radar? Do you have any projects? Anything that you want to?
I got this new song about to drop called Cuban Link. I'm about to
Okay.
shoot the video for it out here in Dallas, actually. And just moving, man, moving with the time, moving with the whatever comes, moving with every opportunity. I got a lot of podcasts and stuff that I'm about to be featured on. And just running with the opportunities, man. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything you can find, everything I'm doing on the gram. I am Word Life, kingofallfresh.com. Like, you can find it all on my page, and you know what I mean. Everything I do is out there. I document everything I do.
I love that. So everything that he listed, we'll link it in the description of this podcast. And before we go, I always ask my guests, who is one person that needs to be on the Latin Wealth podcast?
On the Latin Wealth,
The only rule is you got to know this person. You know what I'm saying?
I got a few guys, man.
Okay.
I got a few guys. Two people I know for sure. One guy that's actually out here in Dallas. His name is Smooth Vega. He's behind a lot of major stuff that's going on out here. Another one would be my guy in Brooklyn, Cortez. He's a battle rapper, one of the first Latino Puerto Rican battle rappers to make it to the level that he's at, doing amazing things. So, those are two people, and if, I'll put the word in for you.
We'll have to get tapped in with them. But before we go, did you have any last words or anything that you want to say to the audience out there?
Stay humble, stay grateful, keep moving. That's it.
Yep.
I am Word Life. Follow me on all socials.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. With that being said, it's your boy Chris, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.